This is the number one video you're ever going to need to watch when it comes to building your business online. How to add six figures to your already successful business simply by introducing social media as a strategy to your business. If you are looking to take your business to the next level and you're wondering where the next lead is going to come from, you want to attract your ideal customers, but the online world and social media kind of frightens you a little bit, I am going to hold your hand and take you through all the steps that you need to know to get your business from being invisible to attracting your ideal customers through social media platforms. In this video, I am spilling the tea because this is the video that I wish I had when I was starting out my business. I wanted to know how to build my brand, increase brand awareness, and attract clients. But at the time, I didn't have any budget, any money. I was literally lost. So that is why I have learned exactly what to do step by step, and I can give you all my tools and strategies in this video. So go ahead and save to watch later because it is a lengthy video because I am literally unpacking everything. This is not like one of those videos that at the end I'm going to say, right, if you want the real tips and tricks, then sign up to this and pay for that. Absolutely not. I'm giving everything to you for free in this one video. But the reason I say add it to watch later is because you might want to pause and do some of the exercises and implement some of the activities that I share with you, and then you might want to come back to this video again and repeat some lessons or just carry on until you get to the end. You also want to make sure that you've subscribed to the channel because there's going to be other masterclasses that I release that you do not want to miss. So let me just give you a little bit of context about me because we're going to be spending quite a bit of time together, so you might as well know why am I the right coach for you to take you on this journey of building your brand and elevating your business, taking it to the next level. Well, my name is Rosalia Lazzarettilli, and you know what? 5 years ago, I found myself in one of my favorite jobs that I've ever had in life, right? I was living the high life. I had a job in banking. I had the salary, the company car. I had the job title, and I was loving life, right? I was in my 30s. I just turned 30. I went to Dubai for my 30th. I was having dinner at the tallest building in the world at the Burj Khalifa. And I was literally looking out on the horizon thinking, I have made it. Like, I have got the best job ever and I'm loving life. That was February 2020. And little did I know, as soon as I came back from my dream holiday, I lost my job. That was it. Overnight, I went on furlough and I was made redundant 6 months later, never to return to that job. Even though I thought I was only going to be on furlough for a few weeks, I actually ended up jobless out of the whole process. And when I lost my job, even though I thought I had a dream job that was job security and everything, and I didn't have that, once all of that had been taken away, the paycheck, the salary, the company car, the job security, the team, the safety blanket, once that had gone, all I had left was myself, my reputation. And that is personal branding. Everyone's like, oh, I just don't want to put my face out there, right? That is totally normal. Everybody is scared of putting themselves out there. Even those people, like myself, that you might think, oh, she's confident, it's easy for her. It doesn't come easy. It's not natural. I don't just wake up with a yellow blazer and a blow dry ready to roll with the cameras. It takes practice. So that's something else we're going to be going through. So all those barriers you're feeling, all those gaps, all those weaknesses, whatever you're feeling right now, all the fears, it is totally valid and totally normal. Whatever you are, whether you're the best or not, it doesn't matter. You have to be the best known. There's no point being the best if no one knows about it, right? So this is what I'm here to help you do. I'm here to help you put your name out there so that you can attract your clients, that you can attract your tribe and grow your business. As the saying goes, out of sight, out of mind. So if you truly are amazing at what you do, then what I often say to people is, don't you want everyone to know about that? Now, you might have a business that relies on word of mouth referrals. That's absolutely fine. That is still solid. That is one income stream. That is one strategy for lead generation in your business. And you're going to keep that. I'm not going to replace anything that you're currently doing with social media. That is not the aim of the game here. So a lot of the businesses that I work with, maybe they've been in business for 5 years, 10, 20, they're already successful. They're already doing well. Word of mouth is great. They've got repeat business, returning customers. But what they've never done, or at least they've attempted to, and maybe it hasn't gone well, is introduce social media as a revenue stream, introduce social media as a way, as a platform to attract an audience that perhaps you're missing out on. So let's talk numbers, let's talk results, because you're probably thinking, all right, Roz, I'm bought in, I want to do it, but what's the return on investment? What can I actually expect from this? This is my favorite question, which I absolutely love. I worked with a solicitor, a conveyancing solicitor, for about 8 weeks. Okay, we'd only spent about 8 hours together, 1 hour a week. Within that time, her diary was already filled at capacity with about 30 to 40 instructions. And that is her top end. She couldn't take any more than 40 instructions. So within that time frame, we already reached her capacity. For another client, I was able to increase their lead generation by 111% in 3 months in comparison to the 3 months from the prior year. So they measured 3 months in 2025 that I was working on their LinkedIn strategy versus those exact same months in 2024, and the results were staggering. They grew by 111%, all by doing the exercises that I'm going to be showing you today. Another client of mine had been working with me for about 6 weeks. I showed him what I've shown many of my other clients and just said, you apply this to your strategy, your journey, your niche, and your ideal target audience. And just after 6 weeks of us spending time on his LinkedIn, he was able to generate a lead that was worth £10,000 in the short term, but he couldn't even measure the long-term value and the repeat business that he would be able to get from that particular client. So again, return on investment well and truly succeeded and exceeded his expectations. Another client of mine not only gets leads from TikTok and Instagram and LinkedIn, but has also gone on to become a public speaker, an author, and also volunteers in schools, so has become a community champion as well. This positions her as a real key person of influence in her space and really exceeds what any other competitor is doing in her category. For other clients, the measure of return on investment is different. For example, one of our clients went viral on TikTok, and just every video he posts would just get instant leads, sometimes 5 leads, sometimes 15. Another client of ours is completely not viral, is not famous, has no interest in social media whatsoever, but through Facebook and through building his presence through communities and groups, we've been able to generate consistently for 2 years a £9,000 to £15,000 pipeline on average on a monthly basis. So what am I trying to teach you here? I'm trying to get you into the headspace of thinking about your own metrics and your own goals and mindset. If you're coming into this thinking, I want to watch this, and after watching this, I want to go viral, then this might not be the realistic expectation to have from a video like this. What I'm about, okay, well and truly, is helping businesses increase their pipeline, increase their relationships, their partnerships, their referrals, and increase their brand presence so that they can grow their business. Some people want to grow it to sell it. Some people want to grow because it's their hobby, it's their business. Whatever your goal is, think realistically and think now. I want you to dream big, okay? I'm not going to just say think realistically, but think realistically. What is it that you would like to get out of your social media efforts? What is your intention on social media? What are you coming onto these platforms for? What would you like to share? How would you like people to perceive you? This is the kind of mindset. These are the kind of questions I want you to break down. Now, I nearly forgot. Speaking of these questions and mindset, please now head down into the notes section, because I forgot to tell you about the workbook, the free workbook that we've designed for you. So this workbook has been designed to take you through this video step by step. So each lesson that I share will actually be featured in the workbook as an opportunity for you to write notes or be prompted or give you ideas. It's there to help you and guide you. So for example, after speaking about lesson 1 about mindset and goals, that is in the workbook. So if you go in there, you can actually put your notes in the workbook. And if there's anything you've forgotten, there should be prompts that can help you along the way. So let's talk about lesson number 1, your mindset and setting your goals throughout this mission and this journey that you're going to be on. Now, when it comes to mindset, if you're in this for a get in, get out, make it happen quick kind of scheme, this is not it, okay? Building a brand takes persistence, it takes time, it takes trust and credibility. People buy from people they know, like, and trust. So if you're only going to stick around for a short while, people aren't going to get to know and like you for a very long time, and therefore they're not going to be able to trust you. Also, out of sight, out of mind. If you dip in and out, you're not going to be that memorable. The key here is consistency, but consistency with productivity. There's no point keep doing the same thing over and over again if you're not doing it right. I hear a lot of people saying, I'll just keep doing, I just got to keep going, right? Just got to keep going. Well, you got to check what you're doing. So in this video, you're going to get, of course, the recipe, the correct recipe of what you need to do, but you need to stick to it. So now that you've got the recipe of success, please stick to it and be consistent. Social media is a long-term game. It's sustainable. It's got that sustainable growth because when you build a loyal community, when you build a loyal presence and a loyal environment with your followers and subscribers, then you will enjoy it a lot more. Whereas if you're coming in, trying to get some quick vanity metrics and get out, you're not going to see that long-term success. So when it comes to mindset, I really want you to stick to it and think long term. Think about what your business is going to look like a year from now. Think about it. Write that down. What do you want your business to look like a year from now? How much more money do you want to earn? How many more clients do you want to serve? Write those goals down. The other mindset I want you to have is come in with a mindset to serve. Not what's in it for me, like as in yourself, what's in it for them. Who are you trying to help? Who are you here to support? How can you serve that community? The other mindset I want you to have is please don't be cagey. There's a lot of people that want to gatekeep. Don't be a gatekeeper of information. I get this a lot with financial advisors and mortgage brokers who say, but if I share everything I know, then people aren't going to use me. But it's not going to work if you come onto social media and say, do you want a house? Well, then call me today. Or do you want to get the best rates with your mortgage? Then call me today. You know, it's not an ad, okay? Even ads are not salesy. They are packed with emotion. They're packed with storytelling. So come in with that mindset to build a bond, to build a relationship with your following and your audience, not with a mindset of, are you going to be my next lead? These are the spammy people in your inbox that basically connect with you and then they send you a spam sales pitch. You don't want to be that person. So again, we're going to go through that lesson today. But in terms of mindset, come into this with a mindset of building relationships. Come into this with a mindset of developing those conversations and turning those likes and followers into leads eventually. Don't come in thinking transactionally, if I post a video, how many leads am I going to get back? It's not like that. You don't go to a family barbecue, right, and say, hello everyone, I'm here and does anyone need a mortgage? Like, you wouldn't do that. So really enter this space as a space to connect with people, because that's what it is. At the end of the day, it's called social media. It is a media platform where you can be social. So however you behave offline, you need to bring that energy online and use your natural rapport building skills that you are definitely very good at and bring that to the social media scene. And I promise you, in terms of confidence, you're going to feel so much more comfortable. A lot of people think that social media is going to be about dancing online, and therefore you're thinking about confidence. You're like, oh no, she's going to make me do a video and start dancing. That's not my style, okay? It might have been in 2020 when, you know, TikTok came out and had nothing else left to do. So I started dancing because I'm a dancer anyway, so I love it. But building a sustainable business with a reputation, if dancing is not for you, singing or being gimmicky or being silly and funny, if that's not for you, then don't do it. Okay, that's going to help you feel more confident. I'm here to help you and show you how to build a social media presence that is comfortable to you. You may need to squeeze yourself outside the comfort zone a little bit because that's why you're here, right? To learn about it. So I know you're already trying to stretch yourself. But the point is, come in with a mindset that you need to be yourself. There is nobody else like you, okay? You need to do what works for you. You need to play the game, okay? There is an algorithm game, and I'm going to show you what works, what doesn't, and, how to play the game, but it doesn't mean you need to forget your morals and forget your boundaries, and you want to be authentic, okay? Again, that comes through. If you're trying to be like everybody else, if you're trying to copy them, if you're trying to do things because you know this will get the bait, the clickbait, it'll come across, it will shine through, and it won't resonate with your audience. So the best approach to this, the best mindset, the best way that you can have confidence is to be yourself naturally, to do what works for you, but what resonates with your audience. How can you be relatable with your audience? What can you post that is relatable to your audience, rather than posting what you think is going to go viral, what you think is for the famous? You need to do what's right for you. On the topic of confidence is about practice. So go into this easy, okay? Remember, if you're new to posting on social media and being on these platforms, even if you don't like them, then go easy on yourself. Set yourself a time span. Some people can put a time cap in the phone, or like on Instagram, where you allocate a maximum amount of time that you can be on that platform. And I would highly encourage that you do go ahead now and set those boundaries in your diary, but also setting boundaries to make time to work on your business. A lot of the clients that I see get stuck working in the business rather than on it. This is an opportunity for you to work on it. So go ahead now as well and choose how you can work on the business. This is all about lead generation and brand awareness. This is not a scrolling exercise on social media. If you're sat there scrolling mindlessly, you're using social media wrong. How to use social media is in a proactive way with purpose and strategy. And all these lessons, when they come together, you're going to get that. But we're just talking about mindset and confidence at the moment, because if you want to skip to lesson number 7 and think you've got the confidence, you don't. The confidence first comes with mindset, comes with attitude, but then comes with knowledge and practice. So I'm going to give you more and more knowledge today, but then you have to practice. So again, what I want you to do is make some time in your diary. When are you going to do these activities? How are you going to implement them? How much time are you going to give yourself? And I would strongly advise that you give yourself a daily target of 10 to 15 minutes as opposed to 3 hours on a Friday. I see it all the time where people allocate their social media time on a Monday morning or a Friday afternoon or a Wednesday lunchtime. And I promise you that 10 times out of 10, that goes out the window, because if something important lands on your desk, that's going to take priority. So again, make time in your diary. That's how you're going to reshape your mindset, and that's how you're going to build your confidence. When you're working on something more regularly and you're measuring it and you're managing it, you're going to have more confidence. Lesson 2 is about knowing your brand, that is your personal brand and your business brand. And then we're going to use LinkedIn as a platform for today's show, for today's episode. And we're going to focus on LinkedIn and how to demonstrate who you are, what you stand for, what your business is about, and put that on LinkedIn. In order for us to create a content strategy and a strategy that works for you, that's going to draw your audience in, you have to understand yourself and your business thoroughly, your USPs, what makes you unique, in order to be able to convey that in your messages. So you'll be pleased to know you're not going to be creating a video right now and you're not going to start posting content immediately. I'm going to show you how further down the line, when you do need content and you're wondering what should I post, you can draw from the exercise that we're about to do now about your personal brand. So let me show you something that I use with my clients that should be in your workbook to help you unpack some of those personal branding and branding questions. Your personal brand is made up of the following categories. So there's personal background and identity, experience and expertise, challenges and fears, aspirations and goals, qualities and values, storytelling and pivotal moments, hobbies and interests, relationship with clients and community, work style and approach, vision and legacy. Those are the categories that we're going to be going through, but you're going to be going through them in a lot more detail within your workbook. Now, these are my personalized categories that I have put together to help people understand deeply what their brand is about. Because when I ask business owners, what's your business? Or, who are you trying to attract? What do you do? They're like, yeah, we just work. It's very generic. We just work with anyone and anyone who needs a mortgage. Or, yeah, we do construction. We can just build anything. Or I'm a coach. I can help anyone lose weight, gain weight, put muscle on, shred, whatever. So the point here is to get crystal clear on your offer, who you are. But also this document is absolute gold. I am giving you so much gold in this document because it actually allows you to think of content ideas. So once you get this document right, you will be able to endlessly write content because you will have many anecdotes and stories to draw from. It's so exciting. Let's dive in. So personal background and identity. This section is a nice, easy way to ease you into understanding a few stories that come to light, right? A few stories that come to mind. Now, you might be thinking, gosh, is this psychotherapy? Is she taking me down memory lane? And, is she trying to psychoanalyze my childhood? No. What I'm trying to do is help you rediscover your stories, help you rediscover what makes you you, help you rediscover what makes you authentic and unique, because a lot of people, when they post on social media, they just sound like everybody else. Whereas from now on, I want you to sound like you, like nobody else can copy you, because these are your own stories. Not even artificial intelligence can copy you, because this is going to be your personal story. So in this section, for example, to give you my take on it so that it gives you a clue as to what to do for yourself. If I'm looking at the question, for example, if you could describe your personality in 3 words, what would they be? I would say that I'm very direct, very fun and engaging, and I've got loads of words to describe myself. I'm enthusiastic, but I'm also very serious and strategic. So you don't have to be strict with the words. Like, if I say describe your personality in 3 words, this is how I would describe myself. Now, why is that important? Because when I show up on stage, when I show up online, I make sure that I am true to those descriptions. I'm honest. I'm enthusiastic. I wear yellow. I show up as my brand. So when you see me showing up in yellow and feeling all vibrant and energetic, I'm not telling you that I'm energetic and enthusiastic. I'm showing you. One of my favorite one-liners is facts tell, if I can say it right, facts tell, stories sell. I heard that once like 15 years ago, and it stuck with me, and it's so true. If I understand my background and my identity and my personal story, I'm able to show up as myself, and that really makes people connect with the true version of me. So another question in that category is, for example, can you describe your journey to where you are today? What's been the most important turning point? I mean, come on, if you've never seen my journey before and my story, that has been a fundamental, crucial part of my whole existence when it comes to launching my business and putting myself out there on social media. 5 years ago, or whenever you're watching this, in 2019, nobody knew who I was. I was barely active on social media. I was more active than most. In comparison to me today, I was barely active. But in comparison to how other people were using it, I was a superstar, although I did not think so. But I only had about 2,000 followers on LinkedIn. And today, at the time of recording this, I have 20,000. And I did that across a 5-year gap. So that goes to show you that where I started to where I am has been a huge transformation. And my turning point, my story, so what this document is allowing me to think about is to document the journey. So how did I get here? So I would be writing down, for those who don't know, I said it at the beginning, just as a quick reminder, in this section of the workbook, what I'd be writing is my redundancy story. I'd be saying, I found a job that I absolutely loved. Remember I told you the Dubai story? That came from this. That Dubai story story. I didn't just think of it on the spot. It's something that I've practiced. And over time, after speaking at many speaking gigs and podcasts and events and online, I've designed a story and I know how to deliver it and how to portray it to you. So that Dubai story and the story about me being made redundant and the story about me starting a business with no money. I also, my business started, like I said, with no money. I had to borrow my husband's laptop and it actually started on an ironing board. That was my desk. So that's a story. So write down those pivotal moments because you're going to be using them in your content. So I just want to show you the art of getting the detail of this document right and how you can build an entire business using these stories, just like I've done and just like I'm helping hundreds of clients do the same. So experience and expertise, that's the next section. In that section, for example, you're pretty much writing the facts, like your CV, your history, things that you're good at, your strengths, your weaknesses, your background, what skills you have, what job experiences you've had in the past. For me, that's been crucial when promoting myself and my personal brand and putting myself out there because I've had 10 years in the property and finance industry, which means that when my audience look at my experience, they can relate to me because my ideal customers have for a long time been mortgage brokers, financial advisors, protection advisors, people in property. So they can see, okay, Rosalie is in the industry and her background has been in that space. So she gets me, right? She understands who I am. That's why it's important for you to capture, well, what are your skills? What are your experiences? What industry are you in? That's really important to capture because when you're sharing your story, that's going to relate to people within that same space. And the rest of the document is self-explanatory, really. If you go through the workbook, you can see that there's sections on your challenges and fears, but there's questions that will prompt you to think about those pivotal moments or those memories that you've stored away. But once you unlock them, they can become your brand stories. They will be a powerful tool for you to be able to share with your audience. The document then goes further into storytelling and pivotal moments, hobbies and interests. Now, that's also key because understanding what your hobbies are and what your interests are, that's going to be that common ground that you can find with your tribe. And you think this might be a silly exercise, but actually knowing what your activities are outside of work will help you to think of content that isn't just about work. Lots of people just come on social media and just try and sell you a mortgage, or they try and sell you their PT services, or they try and sell you their IT consultancy services. I don't necessarily need that right now, but I would love to get to know you as a person. So your hobbies and interests and knowing how you go about your daily life. I've got clients that are lawyers, but they talk about what they do at the weekend, that they like spending time with family. I've got financial advisors that are actually really at the top of their game when it comes to paddle or tennis, and they like to show that they are sports people, right? I've got others that love a holiday, so they talk more about their holidays than they do their work, but they build a community around that. So please don't underestimate that personal lifestyle piece without being private. Now, this is something I teach very often, is that there's a difference between being personable and private. You don't need to put your private life on social media. So if that's what you think social media is about, please stop yourself right there. Other people are more comfortable with showing a little bit more, like about their ups and downs and, what goes on behind closed doors. That's down to them, okay? But if that's not comfortable to you, remember what I said at the beginning, you don't have to do anything that you are not comfortable with. But to talk about hobbies and interests and lifestyle, it's not too private, I don't think. And then finally, the document ends with things like, relationships, clients, your community. Like, for example, I've had brokers before that are in the Jewish community or the Asian community. If that's part of you and your life, that's part of your brand. Don't ignore that, okay? That's part of your life. So put that in the document as well. Put that in the workbook because this is what forms you. I've got a client, for example, who is part of the Asian community and is connected to so many accountants and solicitors and lawyers, and actually tapping into that as his personal brand and tapping into that on social media has massively changed his business. His business is now unrecognizable in comparison to where he was 2 years ago because he's been able to tap into a community that he already had. When I looked at his document, I was like, you're really well connected, but you're not using it. And he's like, yeah, but they already know me. I was like, but you assume that everybody knows you and that you're getting leads from all these people, but actually you're not. And the minute he tapped into that community and we set up something on Facebook, like a group, we set up a WhatsApp community, we did an event, he started waking up those connections that he had lost. So that's why this document is so important to get right and make sure you're answering everything. Then there's work style and approach, vision and legacy, and that's it. So you've got about 50 questions. I know, 50 questions, but trust me, once you have this document solid, then you can jump in on LinkedIn with me because we are then going to convert that knowledge that you have into content and brand presence. But there is one more step before we go on LinkedIn. Lesson 3 is about knowing your ideal customer. Now, I see this all the time. People go on social media and they try and sell whatever they do to anyone and anyone who would listen. If you try and appeal to everybody, you will attract nobody. It would just be white noise. The magic is in the niche. You need to niche down, but don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean you won't attract other clients in and around that center. This is where people get a little bit worried because they're like, but if I niche down, then I won't have so and so and so and so. No, when you niche down, you actually attract more than you bargained for. What do I mean? So in my experience, it doesn't matter what it is that you do. Okay, so if you hear me talking a lot about mortgages and finance and property, it applies to what you do too. Let me explain. So because I've been in mortgages and property finance for 10 years, that's my audience, right? That's my crowd. That's where I've been hanging out. And my background is in being a business development manager for a lender and a broker. So using that as my superpower, okay, think about your background, yeah, and just follow me as I'm teaching you. Using that as my superpower, I'm thinking, okay, I know lending, I know brokering, I know property, I know mortgages, I know enough about this topic to be able to serve this community. And I've got the credibility and the history of working within this industry. So combining all that together, if my ideal customer, let's make it really simple, is a mortgage advisor, and I put myself out there, which is what I did 5 years ago. In 2020, when I launched my business, I said, I'm doing social media management and content for mortgage brokers. That was it. So a first mortgage broker came, the second mortgage broker came, and I started to attract mortgage brokers. Now, here's the abundance of niching down, right? The magic of niching down. As I was growing my audience with mortgage brokers and I was helping mortgage brokers, I started getting wealth managers and financial advisors saying, I do a little bit of mortgages, but I'm mostly a financial paraplanner or I'm a wealth manager. Do you help us too? I was like, of course I do. So I started helping them. Then I'd get protection advisors saying, hi, I can see you're helping mortgage brokers, but I don't do mortgages anymore. I just do protection. Do you help me too? Be like, yes, of course I do. And then I had banks and lenders and the media companies within the property space. Then I had serviced accommodation specialists and I had property investors and I had lawyers, solicitors. So from one tiny little niche where I started out with knowing that my ideal customer would be a mortgage broker, I started expanding the circle because mortgage brokers are connected to all these other people too, like accountants and solicitors and valuers and lenders. So because I was helping that audience, I was able to attract the others as well. So please don't be afraid of your niche. So let's take a different example. If you are in beauty, okay, let's just be completely different because I don't know who you are and who's listening. But let's just say you're in beauty and you worked for a spa. Think about all the other type of services that surround a spa. You know, it's makeup artists, it's bridal shops, and it could be stylists, it could be hairdressers. Like, so many people are surrounded that kind of spa atmosphere. So it doesn't mean that you just cater for spas and you just do social media for people in a spa, or you just do catering for spas. You can actually start to broaden your circle with other professionals in and around that circle. So please don't be afraid of the niche. So the document within your workbook for this lesson is to work through your ideal customer avatar. Now, in this document, you're actually going to break down what your ideal customer looks like, the facts like the gender. Usually, you're trying to make it a female empowering business, or is it gender neutral? Are you trying to attract someone within a certain age range? So, for example, if you are a mortgage advisor and looking to serve the first-time buyer audience, then you're probably looking at people in their 20s and 30s, probably closer towards 36, because an average first-time buyer currently in the UK is about 36 years old, maybe younger, maybe older. So you need to look at that demographic. Or are you trying to work with professional, very well-established property landlords who have very large portfolios? Maybe they're of a different age. So think about those exact characteristics. Don't make it too broad, because you're going to get lost in that white noise. So the document will allow you to be really specific. So as you go through that document, what I also would like you to think, especially if you're experienced, my top tip would be think about your existing clients. So if you're in your business and you've been in the business for 5 years, even 1 year, okay, 1 year in your business, whatever client you've helped, however many completions you've had, however many closed deals you've done, I want you to extract them from your CRM system. So if you've got a spreadsheet, or if you've got a system that where you host all your client data, and I want you to analyze it. I want you to look at what is a repeat pattern. This is to stop you from saying, I help anyone and everyone who needs a mortgage, or anyone and everyone who needs a personal trainer. I want you to think, those existing clients that have already come to you, why have they come to you? What was their most burning problem? How did they find you? So this is really important, because when you start to analyze, the detail already has the formula there. I'm not inventing it. You will find the formula. I'm just showing you how to actually find it. And if you're listening to this and you've got no customers, that's fine. Make an assumption as to who you would like to work with. So if you're brand new, fresh, and you're thinking, gosh, I'm completely fresh into this, I have no clients whatsoever, then go back through your personal brand document. Maybe you were a teacher once and now you've ventured out into a new business, or you've started something new. You've become a coach, or you've become a broker, or you've become an interior designer, but you used to be a teacher. Could you lean on that audience? Could you lean on that community? Maybe you used to be a sports coach, and actually your community is very much filled by sports people. Could that be a niche? When I had to start my business, I was sat there thinking, well, I know I'm good at LinkedIn and social media and content, but who could possibly buy my services? Well, I was in mortgages. I was in the property industry. So that was the easiest route. This is what I knew. This is what I was living and breathing. I didn't start a business overnight and say, do you know what? I'm going to do social media for pharmaceuticals. That would have just been a ridiculous strategy, because I've got no clue about pharmaceuticals. So that's why the personal brand document in the previous lesson, and knowing your customer, the customer avatar in now, the lesson that we're doing together now, is hugely important, because the two match. So look at the synergies between your personal brand and your history and your expertise and your skills, and the clients that you want to attract, or the clients that you have already attracted. Bring them out. I say to my clients, print out the details of your 5 most favorite clients. Pick 5 clients that you have loved working with. Okay, think of them: Jane, Susan, Steve, Alan, and Bob, right? Get those out of your system and have a look at them properly. Go deep in with that document. Where did they come from? Who referred them to you? How did they find you? What problem did you solve? What was the case study? How did you resolve their problem? You know, what did you do to help them go from 0 to hero? Then I want you to think about the common grounds? Do all of those customers have something in common? Which they will. What is that common ground that they all share? What problem did they all have together? Like, is there something common in that? Do they all come from the same kind of region? As in, are they all from Essex, right? Or are they dotted around all over? So whatever pattern you can see, try and marry those up and say, okay, so that person was referred to me by a solicitor, but so was that person. So 2 out of 5 of my leads have been referred by a solicitor, or 2 out of 5 or 3 out of 5 of my leads actually came from family and friends. Or see what the pattern is, write down what those patterns are, and then let's jump into the next lesson. So lesson number 4 is setting up your shop window on LinkedIn. Now that we know who you are, what your brand is about, and who your ideal customers are, I'm going to show you how I applied all of that knowledge and revamped my LinkedIn profile to make it stand out. And you're going to stand out too. Whatever field you're in, you're going to become a key person of influence. But first, you need to look the part. And looking the part means you're going to have a profile that's going to pop, because this profile is the window to your business. When people come on there, this is your first impression. This is what people are going to be looking at. Okay. Now, if you're thinking LinkedIn, wasn't that a job site like for CVs? That's how people are still treating it, but it is not like that at all. LinkedIn is not a CV website, but people are actually using their profile like a CV. If you are a business owner, you need to use your LinkedIn profile like the personal brand website of you, your brand, and your business. So as you can see from my LinkedIn screen, the color draws you in. So I've used my brand colors and designed what's called a banner. Some people leave this blank. Some people have nothing. Maybe you've got nothing there. Some people have like a London city skyline. What I want you to do is design maybe through Canva. Canva is a great platform if you haven't seen it before. Canva is a platform that allows you to create beautiful presentations. This is not an ad, by the way, but if they want to sponsor, that's absolutely fine. But yes, Canva helps you create the most beautiful designs, whether it's a presentation, videos, or banners like this for LinkedIn. So if you want to go ahead and go to Canva, you can save that task for later. But let me walk you through this first. A banner. The banner, here's what it must have. It must have your brand colors very clearly and brightly. I mean, even if your brand is black and white, it's absolutely fine, but just keep that brand consistency. This is your shop window. This is like the front banner of your shop. Now, what I've put on my banner are keywords that blend my personal brand and my target audience. How have I done this? So I've put a statement on my banner that says, creating buzzing brands and content for finance and property professionals. Because when I went through exercise and lesson number 3, knowing who my ideal customer is people in finance and property, I've created a banner that immediately tells my audience, hello, I can help you. If you are a property and finance professional or property, if you're in property or you're in finance, I am your gal. So I'm being very specific because my niche is allowing me to draw my ideal customers forward, because when you're scrolling on LinkedIn, how do you know that I'm the right one for you? So I'm making it really obvious on my social media profile that I am your go-to gal. So what I've done here is made a statement of what I do and who I do it for. And then I've given a very clear call to action. Book an appointment below, because below, we can go to that in a minute, this says book an appointment. So here's my banner. So I've said creating buzzing brands for content and finance professionals. Then how else am I attracting my ideal audience and explaining in a nutshell who I am? Well, you can see my yellow suit, that's something that I keep repeating, like the yellow, that's something that's very relevant to my brand. It doesn't mean you need to have a color. It doesn't mean you need to have a suit or a signature look, but that is memorable. So if you can weave that into your branding somehow, that would be excellent. So as you can see, my images show my iconic color. Now, I've also chosen images that represent me as a key person of influence and represent me as an authority, because I am like one. I am one. I'm on stage, I'm speaking to hundreds of people, I've got a microphone. So I want to tell my audience, this is what I do. You've come to the expert. You've come to the right person. I've also put as a subcategory, not all banners, by the way, need to be designed in this way. There's so many you could look at, but I'm just giving you like the key elements. Now, the other element to this is, rather than putting my CV on LinkedIn, what I've done is put a highlight of all my roles and my jobs, like content creator, best-selling author, keynote speaker, podcaster, and property investor. Again, these subcategories are to show my audience why I am the trusted go-to expert in my field. More trust tags, more trust elements, like for example, that I've been featured in Mortgage Strategy, NACFB, Your Property Network, and the Personal Finance Society, just to mention a few. So I've put those, what I call trust tags, those endorsements, those brand, that relationship between my brand and their brand. So really, highlight anything that you've won, maybe any way that you've been featured. Like for example, being a #1 best-selling author means I get the badge, best-selling author from Amazon. So I've put that on there. I've also written a book, so I've put my book on there too, and my social media channels. So it's not a corporate banner, it's a statement banner. It's a banner that highlights everything pretty much in a nutshell that you need to know about me. Then you need to choose a very clear profile picture. I see this all the time, and I see people taking selfies on their mobile phone. I don't want to pick on anyone, but I'm just going to go here to the right. You can see that not everyone's profile picture. I'm sorry, I don't want to pick on anyone, but I'm just using this picture as an example. You can only see his arm. This person, you can see half the house. So you want to be super clear with your profile picture. This person's only put a letter there. So, as soon as I see that, I won't be able to see who you are and, what you do. So that's why I've made my profile picture super crisp, very clear. And again, I'm very consistent with my brand, very consistent with my look. So I've got the yellow jacket because, by the way, I don't just always wear yellow jackets. I wear yellow dresses for work. I wear yellow when I go out for networking events. I've got a yellow phone. So this is about being on brand. I've got a yellow phone because when people are taking pictures or I'm taking pictures of them, they can instantly see my brand. When I put my phone on the table, there's a talking point. People are like, I like your phone. Yeah. So I show up with my brand everywhere I go. I make it really obvious that this is my brand, and that becomes more memorable. Think about all the greatest brands that you follow and love, maybe Coca-Cola, McDonald's, or Dior and Gucci. They are consistent everywhere. They don't change it up. They make sure that they are consistent. So the profile picture is really important because, as you can see, in some spaces, it's really tiny. So make sure it's high quality, super crisp, and LinkedIn can detect smiles, eyes, and clear pictures. If it's not clear, it's not going to be that engaging when people are, it's not going to be that memorable. Let's put it that way. Now, that's the banner sorted and your profile picture. Then underneath, you've got your name. So I've put Rosalia Lazara, but next to my name, I've put a little honeypot. So when you click on edit, you can add an emoji if you like. Don't make it too long. Don't make your name too long either. The reason I do that is, again, a nod to my branding. And I'll show you how that shows up later as well. Underneath my name, this is the bit that people would normally use, as you can see here, finance and property marketing expert, social media and brand strategy. Right, that section, normally people would put their job title there. Now, if I put CEO of Manuka Media, what does that tell you? Like, what are you going to do with that? That's nothing to you. That doesn't mean anything. So instead of your job title, in this section, what would be even more beneficial and impactful is using keywords. Use this as an SEO exercise and put keywords in there. Now, let me tell you why I've done my one like this, and then you can do yours however you see fit. So I've put, as the first few characters and the first few spaces within my tagline, I've put finance and property marketing expert. I think I've nailed it. Like, that is the perfect formula, because what I've done there, in just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words, I've been able to include my ideal customers and my job. That's the key. So instead of just saying CEO of Manuka Media, I've put finance and property marketing expert. So that means if you're in finance or you're in property, you now know, oh my God, she's the go-to marketing expert for me. So you could say something like mortgage expert for construction workers. Do you see what I mean? That's the difference. So finance and property marketing expert. I put a little emoji there, again, on brand, to spread out and really separate the keywords. So what I've done is put finance and property marketing expert with a selfie emoji. Then that breaks up the eye a bit, because otherwise it's just one big long text and it's hard to read. So my next line is social media and brand strategist for, see how I've reversed now? I've put my job role, social media and brand strategist for, and I've inserted my ideal customers again, finance and property pros. So I'm using lots of keywords. I'm repeating the keywords so that when you're searching, or when you're being searched, you've got that high probability of being found. And also when someone lands on your profile, they can instantly see like, wow, property, finance, property, content, buzzing, brand, strategist, social media. They can see at a glance all the keywords that I want them to see. Then I put a little bee emoji, of course, that is again on brand. And then I've put a call to action. Again, in the banner, I've put a call to action because I'm helping them. It's like a funnel, right? I'm helping them from the top be able to convert. So I'm constantly driving people down to book an appointment. So I've put book an appointment with a point down emoji to work together. Book an appointment to work together. So that will now bring me to the next section. So the next section is, by the way, before I talk about buttons like book an appointment and things like that, make sure that your contact info is correct. Make sure that you've got your link and make sure that you've got your website on there. Make sure that if you've got a number, some people register with like their personal LinkedIn account, and then they have like their personal email address and they have their personal number. Make sure that you register or change the details, because otherwise you'll have people spamming your phone. So be sure to hide any information that you obviously don't want people to have, but don't hide it that people can't even get in touch with you. Okay. Make sure you've got your website on there, but don't have too many links that you're driving people all over the place, right? Just have a clear, leads are coming in at the moment, messages on my LinkedIn. So contact info. Then underneath that, if you press the pencil here on the top right, you can add more sections like call to action buttons. So for example, I have added a book an appointment button. So you can edit custom button. So I've chosen the book an appointment. So when you click that, that takes you to a form that I've created in my business where you can book a call with me, choose a time, and that gives you access to my calendar. So what you want to make sure is that wherever you're driving traffic, that you're pointing traffic to one place so that you can measure those results. Don't have like your website and your email and your telephone number and everything everywhere, because then you can't really track where those leads are coming from. So maybe set up a calendar, a Calendly system, or an internal calendar system that will allow people to book directly into your diary. Now let's scroll down. The next important section for your LinkedIn profile is the About section. Now the About section is literally a website. It's like a website, right? But on LinkedIn, and it's your opportunity to talk to your customers. If they're those detailed orientated people, right? The people that want the detail, that want to learn more about you before they reach out. Instead of talking about your history, like in the About section, I see people talking about like, Rosalia has been in personal finance and in mortgages for 10 years. This is actually an opportunity for you to sell to your audience in a very consultative and relaxed way. How I've designed my About section is I am speaking to you as my ideal customer. I'm not speaking about myself. So notice how I've put as a mortgage broker, an IFA, or a property expert, are you constantly searching for new leads, wondering where your next customer will come from? What I've done there is I've started with the problem. What is the problem that I know my customer is facing? So if you're a fitness consultant, you might say, are you constantly looking in the mirror and you have tried so hard in the gym, but you actually don't know what else you could possibly be doing to increase your muscle mass and shred fat? Have you had enough of eating chicken, rice, and broccoli for the last 6 months without seeing any results? That is a great hook. Instead of saying, I'm Jonathan and I've been in the fitness industry for 25 years and I have shredded fat really easily and my body is in impeccable shape and now I can help you get yours too. I'd be like, can you though, Jonathan? Can you? Do you really understand my problem? So this is another way to use this about profile as a way to actually help your customer, not to talk about yourself. So I then go on and go deeper into the problem. Do you find yourself saying, I need to grow my business and find new customers, but I really don't know, how to do it? So what is the problem? I don't know where to begin, what to post, and if it's even worth it. So that in this section, again, you can read mine if you like and work through your workbook, but I talk about the customer's problem and then how I can actually help them. And then I put a section in there as well. Why me? Why Manuka Media? How can I help you? So then I end that with a call to action as well. The other thing you want to add to your LinkedIn profile is top skills like social media, branding, brand awareness, that you can pick 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you can pick 5 top skills on LinkedIn. So when you go in there, you just start typing in the keyword and you will be able to edit those. And then people can give you endorsements, as you can see, when your skills are showing up on your LinkedIn profile. People that have worked with you can give you an endorsement and a recommendation, for example. Now, services is a new section on LinkedIn. I think you can add up to 10 services. Again, I've made them very specific and relevant to my brand. Next section on LinkedIn is your featured section. Now, this again is about driving traffic. What I've seen people do here is create featured sections that are basically their best performing posts, their braggy posts. So like the post that got the most, I see this all the time, the post that got the most amount of traction and the most amount of engagement, they basically star it and make it a featured post. No. That is not what a featured post is supposed to be about. As you can see, again, with very carefully branded templates, I have uploaded 5 because that's the maximum you can have, 5 featured sections. Now, these are supposed to be links where you want to drive traffic to. These are like, consider them as call to actions or lead magnets. So for example, my first lead magnet, of course, I want people to book into my diary. So I'm always driving people there because that's the best way to kind of get started to work with me. So if you click on that, it should go directly to my calendar, as you can see. Now, if you click on my other landing page, let me show you again. So I've positioned myself as a speaker and I get a lot of speaking gigs. So I have an official template and an official landing page for people to discover more about me as a speaker. So if you click, got an event, book me today, it will take you to my speaker card. It will take you to my profile that will help you learn more about my speaker topics, who I am, what I do, etc. So you get the picture. I've got 5 landing pages and I drive people to different locations. Hear from my clients. Case studies are hugely important, put in that. So if you go to hear from my clients, you can see that I drive you to my website, and my website has all my happy customers, or as many happy customers as I've captured into a case study. So testimonials, case studies, you want to show that as evidence, as proof, and as your credibility. So case studies are hugely important. And finally, my last 2 magnets are grab a copy today of my book and the Money Honey podcast. So think about where you want to drive your traffic. Is it the podcast? Do you have a book? Are you a speaker? So these are all the great ways that you can drive people and help them go towards where you would like them to go. Now, that is pretty much it when it comes to setting up your LinkedIn profile. The rest of the magic, what really makes a difference is your content. So we're going to talk about content when we get to that lesson. So by now, your LinkedIn profile should look all snazzy. So you should have a profile that you can truly be proud of, but please don't worry about it's not perfect. I've changed my profile so many times. Please let this be an exercise of action and progress, not perfection. Okay, so just go with right now what is the best that you could do. And then eventually, as you get more inspired and more experienced, you might want to change things up a bit. Okay. But please don't procrastinate. So now we don't want to procrastinate because we want to go into the next lesson, which is finding leads. Okay. Let's talk about leads. First of all, on LinkedIn or Instagram, people aren't just sat there like, hi, my name's John and I need a mortgage. They're not sat there waiting to be leads. There's people on social media, okay? We need to be mindful that these are people going about their day, going about their business, and then you come in bulldozing into their DM saying, hello, do you need a mortgage? No, we don't need that, okay? We no one wants to be pitched to in their DMs. We want to have conversations and relationships. And I am going to live on camera, okay? Keep the cameras rolling. Live on camera, I am going to show you how I generate leads for myself, whether I'm in my pajamas on the sofa, whether I'm on the train, commuting in between meetings or going to an event. And yes, people can hear me. I don't care because I've got to pay my bills. So if I can hear you chewing crisps, you can hear me doing my voice notes on LinkedIn. Not a problem because I've got to take care of business. So these tasks sometimes take me 5 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes, but it's 20-minute tasks that convert into 6-figure business. Okay, that's what I'm talking about when it comes to maximizing your return on social media instead of scrolling and watching cat videos, which I do too. Okay, I love a cat video, but this time we're going to scroll and we are going to make an impact and we're going to make a difference and we're going to get our return on investment. So I would like to introduce you to your friend. You have everything you need right here to run a business on the go. My leads, whenever I want to lead, I just go in here, into my phone because I've got my LinkedIn app on my phone. But for the purpose of the recording, I'm going to use my screen so you can see nice and clearly what I'm doing, but I will be using my phone as well. So obviously I know my niche. I know that I'm looking for mortgage brokers and I've made it very obvious on my profile. But how do I find them? So you see this little search bar over here? Yeah. Now in this search bar, I can look for the word mortgage broker. Now, if you know that you are looking for a sales director, if you know that a sales director is your type of client, or if you're looking for a personal trainer, okay, because they're in sports, right? And you're looking for people in the sports section, in the sports industry, you can type in those ideal target names in there. So I'm going to go ahead and type in mortgage broker. Right, now with the word mortgage broker, it's going to bring up, and sorry if you see your name on there, but it's public information, but you're going to see that it gives me different categories: people, posts, services, jobs, groups, companies. Let's just focus right now on people. So I'm going to click the word people, and then it breaks it down even further into first or second or third degree connections. Now, notice that I have got the sales navigator function here, right? So this is really important that if you do not see on your screen what I can see, you are going to have a limited view and a different view to what you could potentially have when it comes to Sales Navigator. Now, at this point in the video, I will say that I have not used the free version of LinkedIn for 5 years. I've only used a paid version since day one because the free version was so limiting that I couldn't get enough traction and I couldn't get enough leads, as in I couldn't talk to enough people to convert. Without Sales Navigator, I believe you can only message or connect with 100 people a month. Okay, that's it, like 100 people a month. With Sales Navigator, I was actually able to connect with 100 people a week. That's the difference, is that not everyone's going to connect with you. So 100 people, if that in your business converts to enough business, then great. If you think you can connect with 100 people, but you're not going to get 100% success rate of connection request to acceptance rate. So it's a numbers game at the beginning, and I needed to play with the numbers because I had zero money, I had zero clients, and I needed to build up my business fast. So I did go ahead and sign up to Sales Navigator, and it's super easy to use when you know the key buttons to press, but actually it's not my favorite platform. It's not that user friendly. It's not that pretty, to be honest, but it is so valuable when it comes to generating leads and building your audience. Now, I am going to be training in this video based as on the Sales Navigator model. So I'm assuming you're going to get it, but I completely understand if you don't get it, because if you are on a tight budget and you're thinking, I don't want to spend any extra money, that's fine, but you'll just have a much more limited view in comparison to what I have. So maybe this video might help you choose whether or not you do go for Sales Navigator or not. But the good news is that if you've never had Sales Navigator before, you actually get your first month free. So it might be a good idea to maybe trial it, especially now that you're getting this coaching. It's a great way to minimize the risk of, it being a waste of money. But I promise, like for me, if you use this properly, it has so much more than paid for itself, believe you me. So I'm a big fan, and I'm going to use it because we're talking about leads here, and Sales Navigator is a Sales Navigator. It's navigating me to my sales. Hello. So it allows me to see a lot of data. Like I can create sales lists. So for example, let's go into my Sales Navigator now, and I will show you that I have built customized leads list. I've built search connections. So for example, I have built a leads list of people that have got the word property finance broker in their title. Okay, so I have searched for people on LinkedIn that are called property finance broker. I have saved that as a list, and then I work my way through it, which I'm going to teach you now how to do. So I want you to go ahead now and think of the type of people you're looking to attract and what would they look like on LinkedIn. This is why it's important to have done your customer avatar document, because that document would have actually shown you what kind of job titles you need to be looking for. So for example, if you want to be looking for property investor, you go into search, and now I've got the word property investor in there, but it's showing me over 160,000 results on LinkedIn of those called property investor. However, that's too broad because that's across the US and, all countries. So what you want to do is narrow it down. So for me, I'd be clicking property investor, then I'd be going straight to geography. And in geography, I'm just going to put United Kingdom. But that's still really broad. It's like over 21,000 people called property investor on LinkedIn. So how much further could I narrow it down? So I'm going to go by connection and go second degree connection. What does that mean? First degree, if you've done the work of having actually put a lot of connections into your LinkedIn, then they will be your first degree connections. Okay, so let me break this down. So your first degree connections are people that are already connected to each other. So if you add me and we connect, you would be my first degree connection. Now the power of, so this is what you're missing if you're not doing this, is that you, by connecting with me, you can get access to my friends of friends of friends of friends. And that is called second degree connection and third degree connection. So when I click second degree connections, it means that these people are connected to you, and therefore are a second degree away from me. So it means in basic terms that they are a warm audience or warmer than a complete stranger. So we have things in common. As you can see, LinkedIn are showing me things that we've got in common, like, for example, shared groups that we might be in together, or mutual connections. Like, for example, me and this guy, John Davidson, we've got 125 mutual connections. So sounds like me and John could probably bump into each other at one point. Now, the other toggle that I like to use on LinkedIn is posted on LinkedIn, because when I press that toggle, the number drastically drops every time. It goes from, as you saw before, 26,000 to now 4,500. Still a big number, but I'm satisfied with that. It's much better than 26,000. So when I click this toggle here, save search to get, now that means that I've now saved my list, okay? And if I go to saved searches, you can now see that the creation that I made today, the leads list that I've created today is here. So when I click on that, this is my saved list. Now, does it mean that they need my services? No. So you could argue that's not a lead. But what this means by it being a lead is people that look like they could potentially be my ideal customer, people that look like the kind of people that I could help for sure, and people that are in my circle and in my network. So I definitely want to be engaging with them. And that's why I clicked the toggle posted on LinkedIn, because it means that they would have actually got something for me to engage with. There's a lot of users on LinkedIn with no content, and it's a bit dry and boring. I can't connect or engage with them because there's nothing to say. So I'm going to do this live now with you. So Christabel, if you are listening right now, I am coming for you. So you saw what I just did there. This is the bit about Sales Navigator that's a bit fiddly and it's a bit annoying, where basically I don't like to engage with my leads through Sales Navigator. I like to go on the main LinkedIn page. So what I do is I copy her name, I go to LinkedIn, I type that name back into LinkedIn, paste, take away the second degree connection. So just her name, and there she is. So if it wasn't for Sales Navigator, I wouldn't have been able to find her that easily. I would not have been able to come across her. So because of Sales Navigator and the keywords that I put in there, I was now able to find Christabel. So what I'm going, or Christabel, maybe that's how you pronounce it. So what I'm now going to do is have a quick scan of her profile. Loving the style, love those sleek. I can tell she already understands content. I can already see that she's got someone professional helping her. So maybe she doesn't need me, but that's okay. We can be friends. So I'm going to like her most recent post. And a week ago, she said, exciting update. I've just recently launched an Instagram page to document my journey in property. I'd love for my LinkedIn connections, So I'm now going to engage with her and say, welcome to the LinkedIn and Instagram world. I will definitely support you and give you a follow. Good luck with your journey. Now, this is exciting, guys, because I haven't had to overthink what to say. I didn't say, oh, well done for starting your Instagram journey. Would you like an Instagram social media manager? I'm not pitching to her. I'm commenting, which is so rare these days, guys. People just they barely like. Most people scroll and don't like. But those who like, thank you. I really appreciate you. But those who make a comment, I love you even more for that engagement, because it's so hard to get that engagement, and it really just makes you feel supported and welcome when people are actually taking notice and reciprocating that kind of value. So obviously, Christabel, bless her, a week ago, she announced that she was on 1 follower on Instagram. So I'm going to go ahead and support her. So I will go on Instagram in a minute to follow her. But notice that the value here is that Christabel, sorry, I'm getting this name wrong. Please correct me in the comments and let me know, Christabel, how to say your name. But what she can now see, can you all see on my screen that it now says Rosalia Lazara, finance and property marketing expert, social media and brand strategist, my name is now public to her audience. Anyone that's seen this post and liked it and is following it can actually also get the notification to say Rosalia Lazara has made a comment on Christbell's post. And Christbell is going to get a comment, a notification in her notifications here to say Rosalia has commented on your post. And then she's going to get a notification that I have sent her a connection request. Now, I'm going fast here because this is really important, but normally I would add a note if I felt like it was really necessary. 5 years ago, I always sent a note, like the old classic, hey, I saw that we have so much in common, let's connect. Or, hey, I feel like there could be a lot of synergy. Or, hey, I feel like I want to expand my network, let's connect. 5 years ago, that was cool, man. Like, that was really cool. But because everyone has started to do that now, it looks spammy. So now I don't send it with a note. I'm giving you gold here, guys. Like, these are the little tactics that increase the probability of people connecting and accepting, etc. So I'm just going to send without a note. Okay, ding, done. Now, because I'm accepting without a note, I'm sending without a note. When she connects and accepts my connection request, I'm then going to get a notification in my network that says Christbell has just accepted your connection request. So I'm now going to show you with someone else as an example what I would then do. This is not Christbell because it's happening in real time, so she hasn't accepted yet. But let me just use someone else as an example who's already accepted. So I've done that same process. I viewed their profile, I commented on their latest post, and then I sent them a connection request. So engagement, the love, the value first, then sent them a connection request. And here's what happens. So I'm going to go on my LinkedIn profile now. I'm going to pick one of my latest connections. So let's just say the first one that comes on there, which is Dean, Commercial Director, Ascot Insurance Brokers. Dean, if you're listening, shout out to you and your loved ones. I'm about to come into your inbox and send you a lovely... I found you, Dean. I'm coming in. So here's what I do, guys. Are you ready? Hi, Dean. How you doing? Happy Friday. Thank you for connecting with me. This is not a bot, so you'll be surprised to know this is not going to be a sales pitch. I just genuinely like to take some time out and say hello to people that actually connect. I feel like I've been on this platform for so many years. People just connect and don't say anything, or people connect and send you a sales pitch. So it's just a friendly hello. Welcome. I hope you enjoy my profile, my content, and I look forward to seeing what you get up to as well. Boom. That was 31 seconds, right? Dean is about to receive a voice note. This is proof. If the cameras can show this, right? Actual proof. I've sent that voice note. In fact, I can show you on my screen that I've sent, there it is, a 32-second voice note at 6:15 p.m. on a Friday. That's right, guys. By the way, I'm recording this on a Friday afternoon. I'm going to be here all evening to ensure that this video hits your screens. And when you see it, it'll be like, she has given too much value away. She has given way too much on a Friday night. That is the kind of life that I lead, because that is the kind of life that it takes. That is the kind of discipline that it takes to build something extraordinary. And I'm not famous, or unless you give me a like and a follow on YouTube, that would help. But I'm not famous or rich by any stretch of the imagination. But this is the kind of discipline and attitude that I apply to my business. But it's easy to do the right thing when you're successful, but you have to do the right thing before you get all that glamour and the glory. So this is me on a Friday night. So that's Dean. That would just be one of my styles. I don't send that kind of style to everybody, but it's the one that felt most natural and spontaneous. Okay. Now, obviously, if I knew Dean and if there was something more relevant, like, for example, I could message someone and say, oh, it was really good to see you at the event last night. Hope you enjoyed it, blah, 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 blah. Then that would have been different. But I don't know who Dean is, and I just thought I'd send him a genuine, friendly message, right? Okay, so follow that procedure. Like I've just told you, I find someone that looks like my ideal client. I then comment on their profile. comment on their posts, and then I send them a connection request. When they accept, it's all about the DMs, going into the DMs and finding a way to spark a conversation. And that's when you start getting, a nice, active and very, very engaging and enticing feed. And that's what you want, right? That's absolutely what you want. So another way to find your ideal customers, by the way, rather than doing the one by one by one. I mean, that's my favorite way because it gets me directly into people's inbox. But another way to find your ideal customers and to find your tribe and your community is to go via the content route. So earlier I showed you, so I typed in the word mortgage broker and I went via the people route, right? So I showed you how via the toggle people, I can actually engage with people that have that in their job title. However, if I now go, instead of people, I go to posts and I look at posts that are by mortgage brokers or about mortgage brokers, I can start to see what kind of conversations are happening on social media and perhaps places that I should be showing up on. So for example, like I did here, you can see I clapped and I put a comment here on Iftika's profile. Now, Iftika is a mortgage broker, but he's also a tech innovator and he's a leading expert in AI. So I'm engaging with his profile. And then there's other people that perhaps work for lenders, like this person is a business development manager for mortgages at Barclays. So I should be engaging in that platform as well, in that section, because on that profile or on his post, there'll be other mortgage brokers, I'm sure, that are also following and watching, or other people within the industry. And of course, being connected to people in Barclays is always going to be good, right? So you can either search for your ideal customers through the people section on Sales Navigator, or you can search by posts, or you can search by events. What events are happening? Like I've just typed in mortgage broker and there's nothing happening. What if I type the word money? If I look at events and money, maybe there might be some events online or near me that attract my ideal customer. So you can look at events. You could also look at groups. So again, if I type the word in mortgage broker, because that's again my ideal customer, and I look at the section groups, maybe I'll be able to find a group that has already built an audience. For example, oh, look at this, mortgage broker and real estate agents. That's 5,000 members. Or mortgage broker United Kingdom, that's got 8,000 members. So these forums and these groups have already been created and attracted what seem to be my ideal customers. So have a play with these toggles, because Sales Navigator and LinkedIn use it as a database. It's a database that opens the door and unlocks access globally to your potential ideal customers, okay? These are people that I am talking to, that I want to engage with, because whether they're in property or finance or mortgages, they look like my ideal customer, because from the customer avatar document, that's who my ideal customer is. So I'm going to look for them on LinkedIn. Now, the power of commenting on people's posts really helps draw traffic back to your posts as well. So it puts your name front and center in front of these professionals. So Douglas, one of the creators in my space, I really like him. I really like what he does. Just by accident, he happens to be here at the top of my feed, and he's put 7 business laws applied to property that you already know, but sometimes forget. So this looks like an interesting article. And, he's got a lot of thought into this. He's gone into a lot of detail and people are commenting on it. So great reminder, great points. So right now, because I'm recording this, I would spend a little bit more time thinking, what shall I say? But for now, I'm just going to say great points there, Doug. Okay, that's not a great comment, guys. I'm just going to do it on purpose, right? I'm doing it on purpose to show you that it's not really a great comment, because it's not opening up the conversation. It's not opening up the dialogue. I'm doing it in a rush, but don't we all? We all do that. However, even as a bare minimum, although that's not really optimal, as a bare minimum, what that is telling LinkedIn is, I want to see more of Douglas's posts. Yeah, I want to see more of what he's posting about. Connector. So it's training the algorithm to know that I am interested in seeing more of Doug's posts. Okay, now let me show you some more magic. Okay, earlier when I was looking at Christ Bell's profile, did anyone spot what was happening here on the right hand side where it says more profiles for you? The algorithm is doing the hard work for me. Once you put in the effort and you do these bare minimum tasks that I'm telling you to do, the algorithm is being trained by you. It knows, okay, Roz, you've been looking at Doug, who is a quantity surveyor, a commercial valuer, or you've been looking at Christ Bell, who is a real estate agent and business owner. You might be interested in Wes Boswell, who is a property investor. Why, yes. How did you know? I am interested in connecting with Wes. So now the algorithm is giving me suggestions and showing me people that look like my ideal customer because it's learning my behavior. It's learning that I don't know who Wes is, but LinkedIn think that me and Wes have something in common here. Yes, we do. We have mutual connections. He's a property investor. So what do you think I'm going to do? Once again, I am going to look at his most recent content. Unfortunately, he hasn't posted in like 10 months. So I'll probably just like that. There's not much more I can do. So I'll just like. It's a bit weird to comment on something from 10 months ago. But then I'll just send him a connection request and off it goes. So I've done the same thing there. Now, the algorithm, again, is helping me discover who my ideal customers are. So again, here it says people similar to Wes. Oh, look, Kush, property investor. Yes, please. Liz Curtin. Yes, please. Property investor. Alajos or Alajos. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but I hope you liked my effort there, my accent. I want to connect with all these people. They look like my ideal customers. So yes, please, but I don't connect without engaging as well. So 6 months ago, not posting very much. Maybe he needs me. VJ, he's a mortgage and protection broker. Let's have a look if he's hasn't posted. So this is why Sales Navigator helps me get there quicker because it shows me people who have posted and therefore makes my experience with them a bit more engaging. So engagement is king, okay? Where they used to say content is king, content is queen, king, whatever. Yes, absolutely. But engagement is so powerful because if you just post and you just post and ghost, then there's no point in even posting because you're not talking to anyone. This is social media. You've got to be engaging with people. So find who your customers are, find them on LinkedIn, send them a connection request, voice note, message, get in the DMs, but make sure you're getting into the comments section as well. You've made it to the final lesson, and the final lesson is about creating content. Now, this is to design your first campaign, okay? We're not going to get into the technical content like Facebook ads and, other conversion content, niche content, attraction content. I'm just going to give you one of the simplest formulas that has allowed my clients to generate the maximum amount of leads in such a short space of time without spending loads of time doing the content. It's just a much quicker activation way to get you taking action, basically. This is the easiest way to get you to take action because the quicker you take action, the faster you're going to see results. Okay, so that's the deal, right? This is not going to be one of those courses where people teach you all the marketing degree and the jargon that they've learned and what they're doing. So this is not that kind of video. So I just wanted to say that as a side note, so you won't be bamboozled and bedazzled by all my jargon. It's going to be so simple that you can actually take action today. I'm going to give you 5 simple content pillars that can be applied to any business. I'm not in a position to be able to personalize them because I don't know who you are. So these are the 5 simple, absolute must, the absolute bare minimum pillars that any business should have when they're posting on social media. And these are case studies, industry news / current affairs, educational posts, personal branding, and then network and community. So these pillars are broken down into 5 because you could use one pillar for every day, for example. Okay. And that helps you break down. If you're wondering, what do I post on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday? Let's break it down. Let's do an easy 5-step content strategy. If you were to do one post a day, which is very easy to do once you've got this formula. Let's say you were going to do one on LinkedIn on a Monday, then Tuesday, then Wednesday, then Thursday, Friday. Then you've got enough for 5 days of the week. Exciting, right? Because right now you're probably thinking, that's too much. I've got nothing to say. I don't know where I'm going to begin. It's okay. I'm going to tell you what to say. It doesn't matter which one of the days you pick. You've got 5 topics now, and you can split all 5 between all the 5 different days. Agreed? So the first pillar is case studies. Now, every business, okay, especially if you have at least one client, should have case studies all over the website, in your newsletters, on LinkedIn, on social media, everywhere, in your presentations, even when you're presenting on stage. Your case studies are the number one story, right? This is your customer's story, the 0 to hero transformation. It's all about that because, as I said earlier in the video, facts tell, stories sell. So what's really powerful about a story is that people love stories. You can connect with people on an emotional level. You can relate to them. You can help them see themselves in that story. And so case studies are going to be your number one lead converter, in my opinion, because you might be very, very good at, posting you at the pub and you with your kids, and you're like a nice guy, you're like a friendly person, you're like, I love that person. However, if you have no case studies, I just like you as a person. I'm not going to trust and put my business in your hands and put my life in your hands because I don't know if you can deliver. The case studies for me are a conversion post because they help convert my likes and my followers into paying customers. My case studies show you I know what I'm talking about because I have the facts to prove it. So on any day of your choice, on LinkedIn or Instagram, whatever you want to do, you want to be posting case studies, okay? So you might do a case study every Monday. Now, you might choose the same case study. You might be thinking, oh gosh, does that mean I need 50 case studies a year? Or do I need 365 content ideas per annum? Absolutely not. I often talk about the same stuff, the same themes, and the same stories. I mean, my stories don't change. I was only made redundant once, and I just keep milking that story. So that's it. I mean, until anything more exciting happens to me, I've got nothing more interesting to say. I really have a very sheltered, neutral, very easy life. So I've not really got that many rags to riches stories or exciting emotional stories, right? And I'm grateful for my easy life. I'm great. I'm not going to complain that I haven't had the drama, but there's not really much drama to talk about. So my stories don't change very much. I just use the same stuff, but I say it in different ways. And remember, I get this all the time, right? Where I get a client saying, but we already said this. We posted about this a month ago. I'm like, yeah, but a month ago you had 300 followers. This month you've got 450. So there's 150 new people that have joined your network that wouldn't have seen your post from a month ago. And it's not just about your followers, but your posts reach a cold audience as well that may not necessarily click follow. So on any given day, even if you post about the same thing, which you shouldn't, you can't just keep repeating the same post over and over again because your existing followers will get bored and they've got nothing new to read, right? So what I'm trying to say though is you don't need to think of something new, brand new and creative every single day, because that's where people start to procrastinate because they think, well, how do you have so many things to say? I've got nothing to say. Well, actually, I've got themes and pillars like these content pillars that I'm giving you, and I stick to those pillars. And then when I'm stuck, I think, have I posted a case study? No? Okay, let's post a case study. So that's pillar number 1. That is hugely important. So what I want you to do is in your exercise is look at the latest completions, your latest successes, your latest transformational stories. And if you can, what would make the post more interesting is if you could invite your client to do a joint post. Maybe they might be happy to feature in a video. Maybe they might be happy to feature in a photo. That's a bit more advanced. But if they're not happy to feature and they want to be kept anonymous, that should not stop you at all from posting about that case study. You can still keep the client anonymous. You don't have to mention any detail about them, but you can certainly talk about the journey, the transformation, the problem that they had and how you solved it, and make it a bit more neutral and anonymous. You can absolutely do that. Another way to share case studies is by showing testimonials. So as my pop-ups here will show you, I love screenshotting messages from clients, and I like sharing those in my Instagram stories or my LinkedIn posts. And I like talking about the successes that my clients have had. That again breeds positivity. So case studies, and collect as many testimonials and reviews as you possibly can, please. The next pillar is industry news. Now, whatever industry you're in, I'm sure you've got some sort of magazine, media, press, whatever. I'm sure there's someone out there pumping out information about the industry. Now, again, with the theme of mortgage brokers, there are so many magazines and publishers out there, even the BBC, lots of stuff posting about, the current economy, the mortgage rates. So you've actually got content all around you all the time. So what I often say is convert that piece of news into your own content. So if you know that the Bank of England base rate, for example, is going to go up or down, be sure that on that day you are ready. You don't need a studio. Okay, I'm only doing these kind of studio videos. If you look at any of my content, by the way, just as another side note, if you look at any of my content that I've done on Instagram, LinkedIn, most of the time I've got my hair scraped back in a bun, I'm in my shed working, or I'm out and about, and I'm recording most of the time on my phone. I'm busy recording my clients and doing like camera confidence for them and things like that because they're not confident to just pick up the phone and record themselves. And sometimes it is important to have a professional setting. Of course it is. So for my videos for YouTube, I'm having a mix of candid stuff and some of the professional stuff. So please don't think that on the day of the Bank of England base rate or when the news hits your industry, you need to be in a studio recording it. Okay, that is not the case. So back to what I was saying. If there is an industry body that you follow that has the latest news, or maybe you're reading Men's Health and you love that magazine, you can get content inspiration from that magazine. So promise yourself that and you don't have to be in fitness, by the way, to post about men's health. You could be a mortgage broker, but absolutely love CrossFit. And on a Tuesday, you commit to doing your CrossFit Tuesday mindset post, lessons that CrossFit has taught you, or your videos from CrossFit and, how you like to take care of your health and your body. Or you might choose that, you love reading My Protein or you love reading Men's Health and you want to take some inspiration from that industry magazine. But ideally, that category of industry and current affairs will be relating to your industry. So you want to be educating your audience. So let's park that Men's Health idea for another category, unless you're a fitness instructor and therefore Men's Health magazine and releasing news around that kind of topic is relevant. But if you are in any industry, just think about news that your clients would absolutely appreciate knowing. News about rates, about, tariffs, news about the food industry, whatever you're in, share the news. Now, the third one is educational posts. So anything like this is a very long educational post about marketing and content, but I can break this up into lots of mini different segments. I can create YouTube shorts, I can create short reels, I can create little mini videos for LinkedIn. But educational posts could be one very quick 60-second post about from me to you. It could be something like how to record a 60-second reel on TikTok, or it could be content hooks. Yeah, there we go. So it could be an educational video about content hooks that go viral on Instagram. Let me tell you in 30 seconds. So that would be an educational post. I'm teaching you something. I'm not making you guess it for yourself, and I'm not selling it to you. I'm not saying to you, do you want 25 viral hooks? Well, then contact me today and I'll send them to you. That's not an educational post. An educational post would be, here are the best 20, here are 25, I can't even say it myself. Here are the top 25 hooks that have gone viral on LinkedIn this year. And I'm going to break them down for you. And then I would just reveal the education. I would give that to you. So educational posts are another key pillar. Now, pillar number 4 is personal branding. So this is where, going back to your personal branding document, you would extract a personal anecdote. So it could be the redundancy story. It could be how my Dubai story, how I woke up when I was 30, I was in the tallest building in the world, but then when I got back, I lost my job and job security, So that's my Dubai story. It could be my story about how I moved from Italy to England and I had to learn a new language and that I built loads of resilience. That could be another story. So that story category is about showing the personal side to me. It's about being relatable. It's about being authentic, right? Not about selling or educating or teaching you something or sharing industry news. It's about you getting to know me as a person. So it might be a really simple post on a Friday saying, happy Friday, everyone. Hope you've had an amazing week. I'm going to promise myself that I won't work over the weekend because I really owe my husband a date night and we need to have some quality time together. So I hope that this is a gentle reminder to you that you two need some time out. I literally just made up that post on the spot. Like, I don't know how that came out and if you liked it and if you were following me, but that post, I just made it up on the spot. And that's just what I'm talking about, being a little bit more casual, a bit more candid, a bit more genuine rather than scripted, structured, and methodical. If I'm going to teach you something, if I'm going to do an educational post, I want to make it interesting, but it's less about me as a person and more about what you need to learn. And finally, in category number 5, I've put in there networking and community. So what do I mean by that? So if you go to networking events, maybe on that particular day, you dedicate it to the event that you were at. So what I like to do, and this is the art of getting it right versus not, is if you are already spending time offline, engaging with people and networking, I love you for that. Well done. But you are missing out on solidifying that relationship by not adding them on social media. If you're not adding them, you're going to be forgotten. They were just someone you just once had coffee with. So you want to add your offline connections online. So if you've been to a networking event, take a selfie with everyone in the room. Take a few selfies with people that have been there. In fact, I've got one that I can show you. So if you come onto my LinkedIn profile here, my latest post, in fact, as I record this, one of my latest posts, it's still kind of brewing, it's still building a little bit of traction here. I took a few selfies on a night out. I was with a lender and I took a few selfies with some lovely, friendly people in the room. And then I posted a congratulations post, giving a shout out to the lender saying, thank you for inviting me, Obviously, people are commenting and engaging, again, people within my audience. And that wasn't a sales pitch. It's not an educational post. It's a post about me in the industry networking with my peers. And I will show you how I've also applied this 5-step content strategy that I've just given you, how I do it myself. So let's look at my LinkedIn posts and let's analyze them and dissect them, shall we? So let me break it down. Posts. This post is an educational post that I've just done about how first impressions on LinkedIn really count, and that in the past we used to make, your first impression was in the room, shaking hands with people. But now I often meet people online first and offline second. So I'm teaching people about the digital handshake and about how instead of using LinkedIn as your CV, you could use it as an opportunity to build your brand. So that's an educational post. So you can see that I've just done that there. Okay, let's look at a couple more so that we can dissect how I'm portraying myself online. Okay, so this is a blend. This is more personal branding. So this post that I did 2 days ago, I started with, I'll be honest, sometimes I don't actually enjoy running a business, not because I don't love it, because I really do, but because I've built this habit of measuring my whole mood against how productive I've been. Life Like if I've smashed through my to-do list, I'm buzzing. But if I've had a slower day, instantly I'm annoyed at myself. And honestly, that's exhausting. So I'm giving although I'm advertising the podcast that I've just done with Sophie Foote, I've turned it into a more of a personal post, a personal branding post, because I've wanted to show people, my mindset, how I think. And in fact, people who have commented, let me show you. Like, for example, this person, 100% easily confused with ambition. You see, people are relating to this. It gets engagement. George said, love this, Rosalia. That guilt, whilst exhausting, is because you care. So it helps people get to know you, and it helps people, it makes people have something to say. Do you know what I mean? Like, that story would get people to comment and say, do you know what, Ros? I feel the same. Guys, we've made it. It's the end of the video. You should now have a robust strategy to at least get you started, okay? This is to get you taking action, to get moving, and to practice the steps that I have done solidly for 5 years to build a phenomenal business. Phenomenal for me. It works for me. I love it. I'm so proud of what I've built, and I want you to feel the same. It is not easy, okay? I know it's not easy. I didn't promise you fame overnight, okay? And I didn't promise you 6 figures in just one click of a button. But you will not recognize yourself. You will not recognize your business this time next year. If you apply those lessons, you will absolutely take your business to the next level, as I've seen every single one of my clients who take action do so. Like, they have absolutely achieved those goals. But those clients or those people that perhaps didn't take those actions, I know, even though we're still friends, I know that they haven't achieved the results that they wanted. And that is down to you. Now, I don't know who you are, so it's down to you to take action. I'm not there to push you. I'm not there to hold your hand. But I have given you the workbook, and I hope I'm there in spirit because you've heard the lessons and you've seen the workbook and you've hopefully applied those lessons. So what happens next? Well, you're part of this community now. You're part of the on-brand community. So let's connect on social media. Come find me on there on Instagram. I'm there as Rosalia Lazara. On LinkedIn, I'm obviously there as Rosalia Lazara, and on TikTok. So those are typically my favorite platforms that I like to spend some time on. Now, in the show notes, if you are also interested in other events or other things that we've got going on at Manuka Media, for example, you can also subscribe to our newsletter and stay up to date with our latest news. But how can you make the most out of being part of this community? Well, it is by simply making your requests in the comments. I would love your suggestions and requests for what other kind of videos you'd like me to make. What other topics would you like me to break down? What kind of topics would you like me to teach you more about? So please do make your requests. I would love to hear what topics come to mind. And if perhaps I have already created videos of that kind, then you can actually check out all the other videos that I've created on this channel as well. And if there is something missing, please tell me. I would love to know. Thank you so much for being here with me. I'm so glad I've been there with you, taking you on this journey. And I really hope you've got lots of value from this. So again, the final request is, come and let me know if you've had, great results, if you've had a breakthrough, a light bulb moment. I'd love to hear from you. Social media channels is the best way to reach out to me. Thank you so much for being here on the On Brand Show.